Hi, welcome to this cyber presentation 2022. I'm Dr. Deborah Gibray, and I'm a professor in the College of Business. And I have a co-presenter, Corinne Hancock. She's the founder of the Curiosity Project, and she will be presenting in a video later on in the presentation. She's also an international keynote speaker, and we had the honor to have her speak at the Distinguished Innovative Speaker Series last fall, 2021. She's also been a guest speaker in some courses here at Westcliff. Our topic today is Westcliff Entrepreneurs, a business center for women connecting for social impact. The purpose of our study is to investigate the benefits, but also the challenges of women's entrepreneurial pursuits and what those implications might be for further developing WE, and we abbreviate that as Westcliff Entrepreneurs. Our mission is to empower and support women by instilling transformative skills using education, training, but also resources while they traverse the path to entrepreneurial success. To actually inform our research, we're using the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And for those of you that don't know, these were developed back in 2015 by the heads of state and government of the United Nations at the headquarters in New York, and 2015, in the hopes of achieving these goals by 2030. And they say these 17 SDGs are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing, recognizing that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that not only improve health and education, but reduce inequality and spur economic growth. And you know, that's the impetus behind entrepreneurship, is spurring that economic growth. So empowering women, about a year after the first development of the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN Secretary General, he convened a high-level panel on women's economic empowerment. It's called Leave No One Behind, a call to action for gender equality and women's economic empowerment, knowing how important these were. And they stated, empowering women in the economy and closing gender gaps in the world of work are definitely key to achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So that just lets you know that how important that is. But what also is important is this study reiterated that we should use Goal 5, gender equality, and Goal 8, decent work and economic growth when it comes to women empowerment. And then also Goal 17, partnerships for those goals. And also the United Nations Women's 2022 Facts and Figures, Women's Empowerment, this particular website has a lot of different studies that they looked at, and they noted that there were lots of benefits of women in entrepreneurial pursuits, economic empowerment, and that some of those benefits are definitely helping the economy grow. Also, there's income equality. And when you increase women in the workforce, you're also increasing all overall organizational effectiveness. So obviously, those are important. And the other interesting thing is these studies are showing the benefits of economic empowerment with women. Other research shows that entrepreneurship is the backbone and engine of economic development of any country. And that's obviously vitally important, because we know that it's not only important here in a developed country, but also in the developing countries. And also, according to an article by Chakpov and Radovic Markovic, they said the entrepreneurial activities are increasing internationally, and expectations from women in subsistence markets have moved to a higher level with the changing world order. And we know that subsistence markets they consist of these consumer and entrepreneurial communities that are living at a range that's a little bit lower level. And they're mostly developing, or they are mostly in developing countries. It could be South America, India, China, Sub-Saharan Africa. And but we know how important entrepreneurship is in those sort of bottom-up oriented countries. Empowering women economically. Since women constitute a nation's significant human resource, they must be utilized as instruments for growth and development of the economy. And this study also says that women entrepreneurship not only empowers women economically, but also has positive social repercussions. This particular study was done in a small city in India by a group of women, and the study showed that that the women definitely had a challenge in this city in India, but that it wasn't, their findings did show that it wasn't just economic motivation for these women. They had some intrinsic reasons for starting their entrepreneurship. And those intrinsic factors could be anywhere from just being more creative, having a challenge, autonomy, but also interestingly, social contributions. How are they going to contribute to the family, but also socially? And that is vitally important. And we realize how important social capital is in an entrepreneurial program. That leads us to entrepreneurs does equal value. It does equal social value, innovative solutions, but also it addresses social and community challenges. What does that mean for higher education? Well, the important thing here is that we, as a research institution, have a unique ability and opportunity to recognize and actually support these women entrepreneurs through research-driven and innovative approaches to program development. And this was in a journal called Sustainable Development. And obviously, we know how beneficial entrepreneurship is, but this reiterates how important it is to get a higher education institution involved with women's entrepreneurial programs. Also, this particular article talked a lot about how women who are involved with entrepreneurship, that it's beneficial, especially for women that are starting out and developing business plans or research projects or entrepreneurial projects. And it's important to have a mentor available and obviously having someone to support them, a role model, investors, just access to all of those partners and specifically mentors that would be available for these young entrepreneurs. Now that leads us, we talked about the benefits, but now we're going to start talking a little bit more about the major challenges that women face that when they start working in that business development. One of the first ones is being able to access financial capital. This struggle between family and work obligations, just trying to decide what's important, the family, work, and just juggling that. And then also acquiring materials, having inadequate knowledge, administrative skills, human resource management, just marketing. How do you market? Those are just some of the challenges. And some really staggering statistics around the inequities of women trying to begin their entrepreneurship is that women work 70% of the world's working hours, but they only earn 10% of the world income. That's staggering. And then also this one from Columbia Business School, this study found that female-led ventures are 63% less likely to receive venture capital funding, which means, is their adventure actually going to be able to be sustainable? Each year, the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor does a report on entrepreneurship for men, women around the globe, and it's co-authored by Babson College and Smith College. There's a term they use called total entrepreneurship activity, and the women's TEA is 10.2%, so 3/4 of that of men. And so 3/4 globally of men. It could be in one country, it may be 50%, in another country, 70%. But when you take the whole globe, the whole world into account, it's 3/4 of that of men. And again, these are staggering statistics. Another staggering one is that if the Global Entrepreneurship Report in 2020 says there continues to be this difference in gender pay, and again, in developing and developed countries, and that influences the women in the labor market. But this luckily has led to some public and private collaborations to actually increase that participation in workforce, increase leadership opportunities and skills, and in hopes of closing the pay gap. Another study by Kamari reported that there's these different rates of male and female work participations, but that's specific to developed and developing countries. But they note that these disparities explain and examine those female participation toward economic impact. We have to look at this and create innovative projects around, women entrepreneurs. How do we access decent work? Well, the World Bank recognized that it's a big loss for the country not to benefit from women, given that 50% of the population in most African countries. So it's important that we remove the barriers and create opportunities for women entrepreneurs, especially around policy development and organizational partnerships, which leads us to partnerships for the goal. Goal 17 in the Sustainable Development Goals says, we have to strengthen the means of implementation, revitalize the global partnerships for sustainable development. And this goal, actually, if you read on, it talks about encouraging and promoting effective public and private, nonprofit, and civic society partnerships, so we can kind of build on the resources and experience of all partnerships. So on a global scale, there's a nonprofit called Global Giving, and it's a great example of a partnership to enhance entrepreneurial globally. It supports nonprofits, and what they do is they connect the nonprofits with donors and companies that can help support these projects. A good example is a microcredit program in Puducherry, India. Again, a small little community in Tamil, a district called Tamil Nadu. And they have a vocational training center, which has an entrepreneurial development training. And that training center is for unemployed women, so they can start earning a decent wage, so they can become a part of the economy and start their own businesses. A partnership that we've started this year is with the Curiosity Project. And we've really worked with them, and we're starting to nurture a huge project. This particular organization drives social impact by providing health and entrepreneurial opportunities in several communities, specifically in Africa. So this next slide, Corinne will give you a video presentation about the Curiosity Project.
I'm Corinne Hancock, and I'm the founder of the Curiosity Project. For most of my career, I've been working as an international aid worker. And in aid, of course, the intention is always good, but I believe as you get older and you become more knowledgeable, you have more experience, you start to notice things and see things that aren't working. And also being a mother, you would never go and just give your children everything and expect them to go and be great, high-functioning adults later in their life. But yet, we tend to do this to countries with good intention always, but it takes away their ability to do it for themselves but it also takes away the motivation. If someone just came and gave you everything, you would never feel motivated or even proud of yourself to do your own work. So the whole entire goal of everything I'm trying to create with this Curiosity Project is to continue to try to do the greatest work to serve humanity at the level that is the same for all of us, of dignity and empowerment, and that we are all human beings capable of living our greatest, most powerful lives. Our world and our problems are solved by being curious of why problems exist, being curious of why people are suffering, being curious of why things aren't as effective as they should be. So I felt that if we stay curious as human beings, we can continue to solve the world's problems of poverty and healthcare and lack of education that so many people deserve. The Curiosity Project is also about bringing people together from all cultures around the world. I believe being curious about each other, being curious about humanity, brings peace and understanding in a way that can reduce conflict, not only amongst each other and teams, but amongst the world. And the passion and the heart to help empower people to solve their own problems has always been my goal. So if you would like to be part of the impact team, please go to our website at thecuriosityproject.us and follow along on this adventure and join us in this movement to move away from aid and move towards impact and development. We all deserve to live incredible lives, and it's possible for all of us.
So to see this partnership in action, Westcliff Entrepreneurs, the Curiosity Project, we're going to actually team up with Westcliff Strategic Management of Applied Research and Technology, so SMART. They're consultants who are going to research, analyze, and develop the business plan for this community development project that we're doing, and it's building a medical supply factory. So Corinne and I, you could see me in that last video, and Corinne, but we're going into Fort Portal, Uganda in July to meet with the in-country investor who started some other projects there. And again, the important part of this is we're going to build a medical supply factory and be able to distribute those locally and nationally to clinics and hospitals throughout that region, because they spend a lot of money on bringing in medical supplies from other countries, and they have to pay a lot of money for those fees to get them in and out of the ports, and this will alleviate that. So in summary, empowering women, developing partnerships, and closing those gender gaps in the world of work are key to realizing those sustainable development goals and to alleviate these numerous challenges that we have. And in conclusion, in recognition of the evidentiary research that we've done, we would like to be instrumental in providing the skills, the tools, those resources to overcome and meet the challenges facing our women entrepreneurs here at Westcliff. And for instance, you can tell from that research that it's important to have a mentoring program, because with that we can assess individually what they need, the mentee needs for developing and implementing their projects. So our intent is not only to pave the road for new entrepreneurs, but to assure decent work and economic growth in their communities while also making a societal impact. Thank you so much. And here are the references.